On the 8th of July, the Commission sent you a request for the submission of the 5-year declaration of assets and personal interests. On the 15th of July, you submitted your 5-year declaration. The Commission also asked candidates to voluntarily complete and submit an ethics questionnaire, and you did so on the 4th of July. The Commission sent you 3 rounds of questions on August 9, September 21, and October 20. You were asked a total of 34 questions, including 79 subparts, and 37 of those questions included a request for further documentation. According to Article 3, Paragraph 4 of the evaluation rules of the Commission, a candidate may not provide information, documents, or other materials during the hearing if the Commission requested these earlier and the candidate did not provide them within the time specified, unless, of course, the candidate provides sufficient justifications therefore. Members of the Commission will now start with asking you questions, and today it will be Victoria Henley who will start with asking questions. We will try to keep our questions short and to the point, and we ask that your answers be short and to the point as well. Victoria, you will have the floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The issue where my questions will begin is non-disclosure of bank accounts that I believe were held by your wife. And the bank accounts in issue as far as disclosure in NIA declarations are bank accounts belonging to your wife after your marriage in 2014. I'm going to refer to them as bank account 2011 number 1, bank account 2011 number 2, and bank account 2012. In the materials we have furnished you today is a list that provides details regarding the accounts for you to identify them. In your 2014 and 2015 NIA declarations, you did not disclose the following accounts of your wife. Bank account 2011, number 1, was opened on September 13, 2011, which was a salary account. In addition to salary payments, there was a deposit of 800 lei in 2013 and 5,100 lei in 2014. Bank account 2011, number 2, opened on April 19, 2011, which had incoming cash of 7,864 lei in 2011 and 3,700 lei in 2019. No other cash transactions were identified on that bank account. Bank account number 2012 opened on September 26, 2012, where there was a credit received of 20,000 lei. There was also a credit of 44,000 lei on this account on July 18, 2014. In response to a question from the Commission as to why these bank accounts were not disclosed, you stated at the time of drawing up the declarations of assets, there were no funds in the accounts that would exceed 15 average salaries per economy, of which, according to Article 4, Paragraph 1, Letter D of Law Number 1264 of July 19, 2012, in force until January 8, 2016, they were not required to be declared. And now I have some questions. Can you confirm that your wife had the 3 bank accounts I listed in 2014 and 2015?
I confirm for sure 2 of the accounts. About one account of 2011, actually, it's the first time today that I see this information about it. In round 1 of questions that I received, you made reference to specific accounts that are not mentioned in my declaration. And with respect to each of them, I obtained the necessary information and provided it to the commission. It's just I did not identify 2 accounts of my wife since 2011, only one of 2011.
Hold on just a moment, let me grab. Okay. So does it appear to you that one of the bank accounts in 2011 did not exist? Or just that it was not the subject of,
Nu pot confirma faptul că
I cannot confirm that my wife in 2011 had 2 accounts opened that year. The Commission did not ask for information from me and did not inform me about this. In the first round of questions, the Commission made reference to specific accounts that were not declared. And I can tell you that it's one account of my wife from 2011 and one from 2012, and that's all. It's point 17 in round 1.
I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 bank accounts listed in that as belonging to your wife, and I believe the first 2 in the question were both accounts from 2011, which we've listed as bank account 2011 number 1 and 2011 account number 2.
mai bine că am
Well, I have in front of me questions from round 1, and I see under number 17, point 17, the Commission made reference to a bank account that belonged to me as of 2016. Then next one was an account of 2009, also belonging to me. Then the Commission made reference to a bank account of 2015, which is also mine. And then the Commission referred to a bank account of 2011 of my wife and of 2012 also of my wife, and one of 2015 belonging to my wife.
Let me just, I'll read to you from the portion, who knows what may have happened in translation. After you did not declare in your declaration for 2015 a bank account of yours opened on October 28, 2015, and then it says for 2014 and 2015, you did not declare bank accounts of your wife, and the first one says opened on April 19, 2011, and then the second number opened on September 13, 2011, and then the third one listed is opened on September 26, 2012. So there's 2 bank accounts listed for opened in 2011, one for 2012, and then one opened on 2015.
Bine, eu
Okay, I will check this information, but if the Commission obtained this information, I confirm that my wife had such accounts.
And can you confirm the description? One appears to have been a salary account. The other 2 I don't believe were salary accounts. And are you able to confirm the activities that I described?
Yes, of course. The account of 2011 is a bank account that was opened by my wife, as she informed me. She opened it when she went with a work and travel program to the US. And the taxes she was supposed to get were transferred to that account. That account was opened, the taxes were transferred to that account, and after that, she had no other transaction with that account. She forgot about that account, actually. That is account of 2011 that I am aware about, and I got informed and I asked for information from the bank about it together with the wife. And I understood what was the situation related to that account.
Second one apparently opened in 2011, apparently incoming cash. Well, actually, why don't I ask you first, were you able to tell of bank account number 2011, number 1 or number 2, which was the salary account that you referred to? Was it 1 or 2?
Moldova Agro
It's Moldova Agro Bank, MAIB. The one of April 19, 2011, that's the account that I spoke about a bit earlier.
So then it may well be that bank account 2011, number 1, which was opened in September 13 of 2011, that was also a salary account.
Da,
Maybe, yes, maybe that one. I am trying to look back in time of what I know from the work of my wife. And she was hired, she was employed starting 2011. So probably the second account from 2011 was the salary account where she was getting her salary.
Third bank account opened in 2012. There were 2 credits received, one of 44,000 lei on the account in July of 2014, and it was opened initially in 2012 with a credit of 20,000 lei. Is that familiar?
da.
Yes, that's the other account that I obtained information about. I studied it, and together with my wife, we checked what happened to that account.
Or paragraph 1, subpart D of law number 1264/2002 that was in force until January 8, 2016, required the subject of declarations to declare to NIA all financial assets, namely bank accounts, investment funds, equivalent forms of saving and investing investments, bonds, checks, bills of exchange, etc., made by him or his family members, as well as other financial assets, regardless of their value. After the entry in force of law number 133/2016, the subject of the declaration was obliged to declare the bank accounts opened in his name and his wife's name, which cumulatively exceed the value of 15 monthly average salaries. So until 2016, the law required disclosure of all bank accounts regardless of value. Is that correct?
Da.
Yes.
Not until 2016 that the law required disclosure of bank accounts only if they cumulatively exceeded the value of 15 monthly average salaries, correct?
Da.
Yes.
So until 2016, you were obligated to disclose the 3 bank accounts of your wife, is that correct?
I can explain if you allow me. Poftim.
Conform
According to article that you made reference to of the law that was in force until 2016, that was about declarations submitted by several categories of people, including judges. The object of declaration was financial assets. The parliament listed what a financial asset is. And among other things, the law said that a financial asset would be a bank account as well. I made an analysis of the situation, And I found that the notion of financial asset is a purely financial term. In the Financial and Banking Dictionary, a financial asset is defined as being a financial indicator that is used in the banking system where the asset consists of, and it lists the assets, like banknotes, current and term bank accounts, gold, bank credits, the long-term loans, obligations and shares, as well as insurance premiums. Consequently, a banking account in itself, if there is no asset in it, meaning no money in it, it is not a financial asset that belongs to me or to the declarant, and its declaration should not be taking place normally. Also, based on the rationale of implementing such a law and declaration, the main purpose of the law is for the public, among others, to know what dignitaries have a living of, what's their income, what's their wealth. Consequently, a banking account that belongs to a bank, because I submitted to the Commission at request some information from Molding.com Bank, where Molding.com Bank, among other things, said that a bank account is not property of Sergiu Caraman or any other subject. A bank account is a property of the bank account in itself. And under circumstances when there are no assets belonging on that bank account belonging to me or to my family, that bank account was not an object of declaration. Otherwise, the fact that the Parliament in 2016 entered that or approved that formula that is still valid today, that it's not about bank accounts with no money that has to be declared, but bank account where the subject has money on. And speaking of those 10 or 15 average monthly salaries per economy, that proves once more that the Parliament did not want the declarants to necessarily declare their number of the account in their declarations of interest, of assets, and they revisited their position and approved it in the new law that was passed in 2016.
And from among these accounts, I mean the 2011 account of my wife, the one that I said that she used to receive those taxes, those fees from the U.S., and they were transferred to that account. So the balance of on that account was zero in 2015, 14, 16. So that's why it was not supposed to be subject to declaration, and that is the reason why I did not declare it. It's this particular account that I mean. As regards the other account of 2011, the salary account of my wife. On that account, the salary was transferred to that account. The salary of my wife was transferred to that account. And her salary, since we got married, I have been declaring her salary in my declarations in the section, the salary of the spouse. And therefore, it was not rational to indicate again the same amounts from that same account in the section related to financial assets, considering that I had already declared that income in full in the section that is salary of the spouse.
So in the law that was in effect until 2016, when it said to disclose all financial assets, including bank accounts, regardless of their value, what do you think the Parliament meant by regardless of their value?
Dar în lege nu era așa o expresie.
But the law didn't have that expression, regardless of their value. They say it said bank accounts, comma, and all the other ones that the assets that followed. I think that the Parliament meant deposits, such as when amounts are stored on bank accounts, because in Moldova, actually, the notion, the term of bank account used to be understood only as a deposit, as in keeping money, storing money in a bank on some particular account. And I think that the Parliament for financial assets meant this thing in particular, as in deposits, bank accounts as deposits, as in if the declarant, together with their family, were keeping any money in the banks in the country or abroad.
Anything else you wish to add or further clarify with respect to this issue?
Yes, I would like to mention that the bank accounts that you referred to are bank accounts that were opened by my wife in 2011. At that time, I didn't even know her. We got married at the end of 2014. And after we got married, in the declaration that I filed for 2014, I asked my wife about her bank accounts, if she had any bank accounts on which she kept funds. And she told me she didn't have bank accounts, none other but the salary account. And I asked her to provide that information regarding her income for the previous year. And I put all that income in my declaration of assets and personal interests. I did not have any intention whatsoever to hide any of the bank accounts. I submitted to the Commission information confirming that that account from 2011 was one that that had a zero balance, starting from the moment that the amount that was transferred to my wife was withdrawn, which happened before we got married. So once it was zero, it stayed like that. And it's on that account that in the further years a transaction was made through. I tried to look into that transaction, what was that transaction about, and the bank told me that when my wife made a transfer to her account, she had an account with the same bank, so it's a bank card that she still has to this day. And it's not clear why, but the transfer, initially there was a deposit on that account of 2011 with a zero balance account, and then from there, the transfer was made. So it's like it's a transfer that the bank itself made from one account to another, because that account from 2011 with a zero balance hadn't been closed. So there was some error, some mistake regarding that transfer. It went to that account, and from that account, it was then transferred to where the money should have actually gone to in the first place. However, about that account, not me and not my wife have used it, and I did not know about its existence. With regards to the salary account, as I mentioned, all the money that my wife received as salary, starting with the day that we got married on, I kept declaring those amounts In all my declarations of assets and interest, I did not hide not even one leu. In terms of a deposit that you refer to, a deposit that seems to have been made on that account, on that salary account, that is perhaps related or is about an amount of funds that my wife deposited on it, the 800 lei that you mentioned, and then the 5,100 from 2014. I think it's also her. But in the first round of questions and in the second or the third, and none of those rounds did the Commission ask me to provide any explanations with regards to these amounts. But 800 Moldovan lei was deposited in 2013 before we got married, and the 5,100 amount in 2014. But it doesn't say what date that was for me to be able to say whether that was before we got married or afterwards.
And just for clarification, when you referred to the apparent transfer to the wrong account by the bank, or was that the 3,700 lei in 2019?
Da, exact.
Okay.
Este vorba
That's right. That's right. Is that amount, the 3,700? That was a rate for the card that had to be paid. So my wife went to the bank and she deposited that amount on the account, on her card account. And the bank initially put that money on the 2011 account that was a dormant account, so to speak. And then the bank itself transferred it to her card account. But until then, it was zero. That account was zero.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, Naresa.
Mr. Caraman, thank you for these explanations. You provided a thorough and quite interesting interpretation with regards to the bank accounts. I have to admit it is the first time that I hear about an interpretation like this. Is it possible that non-declaration was an error? Because if there are bank accounts, I mean, I understand that you purposefully did not want to declare it because you thought that they were not supposed to be declared because of the way that you interpreted the law in force at that moment in time. That actually said that both the revenue or the income there, the funds there, and the bank accounts had to be declared, in fact. Thank you for the question. I did not do it purposefully, as in I did not have this purpose or this intention to introduce some information in the declaration that is in contradiction with the law. I said that about those accounts of my wife, the 2011 account that I didn't know it existed even. So I did not have the intention not to introduce it there in the declaration because I didn't know about it, not to mention that it was there was a zero balance. As for the other accounts, I don't know how one could even hide, how could a declarant hide that information, the accounts, because this is something that anybody, that can be checked at any time. As for the salary accounts, my wife's accounts and my accounts, I did not declare them because their contents, what was on those accounts, I had always been introducing that information in the income section. So in the income section, I introduced all the contents on those accounts, all the funds there, everything that I was transferred as a salary or everything that my wife was transferred as a salary, that is all there in the income section. So I had no intention whatsoever to hide the accounts. As for the information regarding the accounts, as I said, that can be easily checked for any declarant. And I really don't see an issue. With regards to the interpretation of the law, I think that the lawmaker, the parliament, it's not in vain that the lawmaker, starting with 2016, has amended that provision, because the bank account is not the ownership of the individual, but this interpretation, I might not have been very clear, this interpretation that you have, did you come to it now, having answered the questions of the Commission, or did you figure it out like that back in 2014 12, 13, 14, maybe you didn't declare because you thought that you didn't have to declare them according to the law. It's now that I came to this interpretation when I received the questions from the Commission. At the time, I thought it was not necessary to duplicate the information. Since I've already reported it under the income section, why would I need to introduce it in another section again, I thought. But what is certain is that I did not hide not even one leu away. And all the income of my wife and of mine, starting with the day that we got married, all of that was declared in my income, in my declarations on assets and interests.
Like to? No? Okay, then this already brings us to the end of the hearing. Is there, after the questions and the discussion that you've had, any closing comment that you would like to make to the Commission? Please go ahead.
Thank you. I will be honest, and I will say that these 5 months since the pre-vetting work started were not easy at all for me and for the members of my family. This was a time of frustration, of stress, and a period of time where my integrity was questioned, and there were certain questions from the Commission that somehow I perceived as myself being blamed for for me not declaring certain information. I took that as or interpreted like that. Certainly, none of the judges will take this as something easy to go through. However, it is my hope that all of these experiences, the experience that I go through and that my colleagues go through, is going to be for the best of the future, for the best future of this country. I hope, and I also trust that I have all the trust in the Pre-vetting Commission, and I hope that the people who will make it to the SCM will be worth it, and that those people will be such that the society will have no questions about it in regards of their integrity. And that's why I share this, and I told this to my colleagues a number of times, and to the people out there from the society that I talk to, that for such a noble, high purpose, I'm ready to stand and to go through the experience that I went through. And I'm ready to do the best that I can, to be as diligent as I can, and to contribute as much as I can to strengthening the judiciary system in Moldova. I hope that as a result of this endeavor, I hope that for the general public, for the society, I hope that they will have no doubt at all regarding the integrity of the judges who will become members of the Superior Council of Magistracy. And I really hope, and it's my hope again, that the people will be able to have that trust that they want to have in the judiciary system as a result of this activity, of this work. And I would also like to thank all the members of the Commission for the work that you performed. And it is my hope that Moldova, the judiciary system, will manage to break through. Thank you.
And with this comment, we come to the end of the hearing today. I thank you for your answers to the questions that we had. The Commission will now, of course, withdraw for deliberations, and as much as possible, the Commission will strive at delivering a decision within a month after the date of the hearing. And thanks again for being with us this afternoon. Thank you.
Și eu vă